Hey, Mike here with Mike's Bags, and today I am reviewing the Renegade by Reynolds Bags. This is probably the most requested bag that I've ever received. I've got a ton of requests since I came out with this to review it, so finally got a set in recently, and let's go ahead and jump in and we'll talk about the review. Design, I always talk about design, but Reynolds designs are very standard. It's the same design you'll always see at Reynolds with the the Reynolds look here, the name. It's a carpet bag, so there's no logo in the back, but it's their Reynolds name, and then it's the model down here. It's their basic design. Nothing fancy, nothing special. It's not ugly or hideous. It's just not going to catch your eye, draw your attention. Now, Reynolds does do custom bags, and they will do custom bags really well, and they get them to you quickly. So if you have a custom design or custom look, you can definitely add that to it. All in all, it's just a basic design. These are ACL Pro Stamp for 2023 for those that play in ACL events. Material-wise, we'll start with this slow side, and this is that herringbone carpet that's becoming very, very popular right now, mainly because of the Sorcerer. So it's the same. The Sorcerer uses this. The Fallout X uses this. The Wizard uses this. Very popular material. A lot of you have probably played it. It's kind of, people call it a hybrid carpet. I don't really call it hybrid. It's a carpet material, herringbone design pattern on it. It runs, the speed on this varies a lot depending on how you break it in and how you rough it up. I've always called it a 6-speed. It's probably on the slower 6 side, maybe even closer to a 5.5, but I've always just called it a 6. But this material will play anywhere from a 3 to a 6, right? Depending on how much you wear it in, if you get it dirtier, full of dirt and grime and sweat, it's going to slow down. If you rough it up, so if you want this bag to play slower, you can take 2 of these bags, put the slows together and just rub them together. You can throw it on your carpet and just rub it in really good on your carpet. Anything you do to rough this up, you can take a brush and kind of rough this up. Anything you do to rough it up, it's going to slow it down. So depending on how slow you want your bag to play, you can dictate that with the material, which kind of makes it nice, right? You can create the speed you want out of this bag, and then if it starts going too slow, you get one of those carpet shavers. You can shave it back off and speed it back up, and then get it back to where you want. So you can really change the speed on this. But for me, I'm going to call it a 6-speed because that's generally when my boards are playing at their normal speed without any kind of humidity like that. It plays about a 6 to me, a slow 6. So I'm going to call it a 6. Fast side. This is the fast side that is becoming a little more popular. I'm seeing it more and more. I'm most familiar with it on the Route 69 by 710 uses it on their fast side. Crazy 8 has it on their new Irate bag, has it. I believe it's the same fast side as the Dragon Bags Genome had on there. It's been a while since I've seen one of those bags, so I could be wrong. But if it's not exactly the same, it feels and plays like that. But I think that's what it is. I also think the Cornhole Coastal Boardwalker has this on their fast side. Again, I've got a set of those bags in order. I haven't got the Boardwalkers in yet, so I can't confirm that. But I think from looking at pictures, that's what this is. I think there's a few of the bags that use it. I just can't think of them right now. But it's a fast material. I'm gonna call it a 9-speed, but it plays a faster 9. I mean, I've seen some places call it a 10-speed in some cases. When you get to that 9-10 range, it's really hard. I mean, it's fast. At that point, the material's fast, and it's not a material you're controlling. It's a material that you use to push and collect with. So you're designed to slam into bags, not to just slide it and fly it off the back of the board. Anyway, you're looking at about a 5 to 6 on the slow, a 9 to 10 on the fast side on this. The bags I compare this to me, there's 2 bags that really come to mind with this bag, and that's the Fallout X and the Sorcerer. They both use, all 3 of them use the same slow side, and all 3 of them have a little bit different fast sides. It really comes down to preference of what fast side material that you like better. But those are the 2 bags that really come to mind. Now, template-wise, this is a very medium template. In fact, this bag reminds me of the Cyclone that I reviewed at Reynolds. It's a better version of that bag because I like this fast side much better. The Cyclone had a little bit slower fast side material. I didn't like that as much. I like this material better. I think it fits better. But this is that medium template that Reynolds has been using recently that they have on the Hurricane and the Cyclone and the Carpet Bag, and I think most of their bags are starting to use this template here. So a medium template on it. It's got a decent amount of fill. It's not really floppy, but it's not really full. It's kind of that medium fill in there. Now the fill, I'm not a fan of this fill that Reynolds is using. It's a really small disc fill, I believe. It's a really fine fill. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I'll get more into that about playability of why I don't like it. I've kind of brought that up before in some other bags I reviewed of theirs, especially mainly the fracture. And I want to preface saying that I'm nitpicking this bag, right? And I think the fracture in that review, people took that as I hated that bag. That's a good bag. It's just not a great bag. And I think this fill prevents this bag from being like, this bag is right there at being a great, but it's not quite there, and I think the fill's the reason. I'll get into that in a moment here. But anyway, in fact, let's go ahead and jump in. We'll talk about playability. While I'm there, let's go ahead and talk about playability on this. So this is a bag that is very versatile depending on how much you slow this slow side down. For me, what I love about this type of material is really it's a material that if you're a carpet bag thrower and you play a lot of blind draws, a lot of times in blind draws, people just hate to throw a carpet bag. If they're not used to throwing carpet, they don't like it. This is a carpet that anybody can throw. It's a carpet you can put in a fast bag player's hand, and they can easily adapt to it. It doesn't punish you if you're not flat. It isn't going to kick as much as a slower carpet is going to do. It's still pretty hole friendly. It's not going to hang on the hole as much. It really does. It plays really nicely. It plays really well. It plays great in most conditions. I mean, even in humidity, this material is still going to move. It's not going to stick up and stop like some other materials do. So really in humidity, this fast side is going to play. So this is a great bag for humid conditions. If you play in an area where it's really humid, this is an awesome bag. Both materials are going to move. I mean, they'll slow down a little bit, but they're still going to move in those humid conditions, right? This is also a bag that you can play that block style game with. I think it's a full enough bag that you can, if you're a roll or flop bag player, you can definitely do that with this. I had a lot of fun throwing some cut shots. You can definitely cut bags with this, so I really think you can roll it. Not my game. I didn't really try it too much because if I'm a roller bag, I want a slower material, I want a fuller bag, but I do think it's possible with that. So it's definitely a versatile bag. It's actually a great bag for collecting in the sense that it's got enough fill to it that you can just clip a corner and drag it in. The one thing I will say as far as from blockers, it's not a big bag, right? It's not a larger template. So when I throw a blocker with this bag, I really had to throw more in the middle. I couldn't get too aggressive on my opponent's side. And the reason for that is one of the issues I have with this bag is it wanted to bunch up sometimes when I try to collect. So if I threw a bag a little further over my opponent's side, so more on their side, you know, the middle of the hole here, more on their side, when I threw my collect bag and I came to collect, I'd have to throw a little bit of a cut. You know, I throw a cut shot. I usually come slow section. I throw a cut shot, come across to collect it. And what would happen is it would hit and they would just both bunch up and hang. And then once they were hung, it was really hard to get them to drop in. And so I didn't, after I did it a few times, I stopped doing it and realized this is not a great bag for being aggressive with your blockers. This is a throw blocker down the middle, and then you can easily come right down and collect it. And you can collect either side. Like this slow side's fast enough. You can collect a bag, at least for me right now. I haven't slowed it down much. But I wasn't as comfortable with throwing blockers because of that bunching. The other problem I had, and this is where we get to this fill. This fill is just, it's just so fine that it really wants to compress. It really wants to settle. It doesn't want to move. It's not a very fluid fill. And what I found is bags would just hang on the hole. Bags that should have gone in just hung there. And that was the problem I had with the Reynolds Fracture is I didn't feel like the bags were dripping or melting in the hole like they should have. And I just think a better fill, a little bit larger disc fill, you know, not a large, I mean, you can still use the normal small disc like people use, but a blended fill, add some beads in here, add something in here. I think you need some bigger pieces of fill in here to get some more movement to keep the bag going. And what I mean is, like when I grab this bag to butterfly it, you see how this, it doesn't really, everything compresses. The fill compresses. It doesn't spread out. I've got to shake it and get it to where I want it to be, you know? And so when it's compressing like that, the same thing when it hits the board, slaps the board, the fill is just compressing and staying. It's not wanting to flatten out and to separate. And what I like about the bead fill and your more of your hole-friendly bags is the fill doesn't want to stay together. It's very unstable. It wants to keep moving. And that's what, as long as that fill's moving, the bag's going to go in the hole. If you keep that fill moving, the bag's eventually going to drip in the hole. You're not getting that here. You know, I take another, so I've got the Route 69 here, right? And this has got a little more of a blended fill. And when I squeeze this to butterfly, immediately you can see how it fills up right here. Like the beads, when I compress down, they spread out, right? When I compress down on this one, they just stay there. There's still a lot of space here. Like it hasn't, I have to really shake it to get it. Now it's filled out. This fill is just not fluid. It's not moving. It just wants to compress. It wants to compress. It wants to stay together. And for whatever reason, I feel like that's what's causing the bag not to want to drip in the hole like it should. And I'm not saying it's not hole friendly. I'm not saying that it's going to cause a problem. I'm just saying that there are bags every now and then that I threw that with a different fill would have gone in, but with this fill, it's just not going in. They're just hanging in the hole more than I think I want them to. Doesn't mean it's an awful bag. It's a good bag. It's just not a great bag. It's that fine line of it could be just a little better if they would fix that fill. Now, availability. Here's where Reynolds gets everything right. Like they have their bags are in stock. They get their bags to you quickly. $65 I think is the price on a set of these bags. Extremely reasonable, and I think it's like $11 shipping. It's like $76 shipped to you. You get them with like 2 or 3 days. I mean, they're very quick. They have them in stock. That's the beauty of Reynolds. And when you compare this to like a Sorcerer or Fallout X, the price makes this very appealing, right? If you base it just on performance, I'd rather have a Fallout X. I'd rather have a Sorcerer because what this bag struggles at, they do really well. But when you look at price, I can get 2 sets of these for one of those. So when you factor price in, the advantage of those maybe isn't as great. So I think you have to weigh that, right? If price is important to you, you definitely want to go with the Renegade over the Sorcerer or the Fallout X. If you don't care about price, you're only worried about performance, I would say take the Fallout X, take the Sorcerer all day long over the Renegade. So, but anyway, I thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks for support.